to me seem doable. And it may be helpful for you to know a little bit about my background so that you can understand why I am a steward. Many years ago, maybe 20, I was in a weekly ecumenical Bible study with Stacy Fernandez, who is now Presbyteris Fernandez. We kept in touch. About 7 or 8 years ago, Stacy called me to ask if I wanted to come to a Bible study. Her husband, Tom, who was Deacon Tom at the time, was going to teach. I thought, sure, why not? I really liked Stacy, we shared a lot about our faith, and Tom seemed like a nice guy. This particular Bible study had been created for those possibly interested in Orthodoxy. At the time, I was not planning to become Orthodox, but I knew Deacon Tom had the background to teach a really good study. We met every week in their home where the bonus room above the garage had been made into a chapel. The evening started with prayers in the chapel, then we enjoyed each other's company, swapped stories, and laughed around a meal Stacy had prepared, which was always delicious, before Bible study started. Unfortunately, when I started going to Bible study, I was only able to get around using a rollator, a walker with a seat, due to 2 very bad hips which both needed replacing. So I would unload the rollator from the car and roll up to the front door. But since the chapel had steps leading up to it, I would listen at the bottom of the stairs. Deacon Tom did not water down the richness and fullness of Orthodoxy. Fortunately, he also knew enough about Protestant denominations to not be put off by questions like, now, how do you know that? And where do you see that? I experienced a warm Orthodox community for about 3 years within our small group. During that time, I was able to get both hips replaced. The first on my birthday, September 26, 2019, and the second 91 days later on December 26th. I remember the first time I was able to climb the stairs to the chapel after hip surgery. There on the landing was the icon of St. John of the Ladder. I felt like I had been making my own spiritual ascent, and like the physical ascent, it had not always been easy or fast. Deacon Tom and Stacy also invited our Bible study group to church, both here at St. Nicholas and in Myrtle Beach, where he was also serving. At one point, I was attending both a Protestant church here in Wilmington and St. Nicholas. The Protestant church when I was by myself, and St. Nicholas when I knew Deacon Tom and Stacy or Victoria would be here. After studying the Bible through Orthodox eyes, I felt a pull to the Orthodox church, but I was hesitant to leave my religious heritage. You see, my great-grandfather was a Free Will Baptist preacher in eastern North Carolina and also started churches. My grandfather, one of his sons, and my grandmother were very active in the mainstream Southern Baptist denomination, and I was raised in the Presbyterian church, which my father's family belonged to. I grew up participating in youth activities, going to church, and my grandmother was a big influence on me. Then one Sunday morning, the small, still voice asked, "How long are you going to keep running?" And I knew I had to decide. At that time, I asked Stacy if they were coming to St. Nicholas on a particular Sunday so I could tag along. Knowing it was time for me to join in a more fully in the life of an Orthodox parish, Stacy very kindly said, "You know, you can go to church by yourself." And she was right. No one here had ever been anything but kind and helpful. And I also realized that if my great-grandfather had been a man of faith, which I believe he was, he would be happy to know I wanted to deepen my spiritual walk and was turning to the ancient faith. Fairly early in my time at St. Nicholas, there was a particular kindness I will always remember. I had come to my first midnight Pascha service by myself. The narthex was very crowded, and not realizing how central a candle was in the service, I did not get a candle. When we got to that point of the service, I felt a tap on my arm, and a gentleman handed me a candle so I could fully participate. He acted so quickly I could not even see his face. This is one of the many acts of kindness and inclusion Even if you didn't know someone's name or exactly how you were related, if they were at the reunion, you knew they were family. And just like my biological family reunions, every Sunday I see folks I know well and others not so well. However, I know if they are here, we are related in Christ. Even though I do not have children of my own, I want to support the ministries for children and youth because it meant so much to me. And as I get older, I am grateful for Forever Young and the Fellowship of Philippians. And Greek School has so enriched my worship. There are so many other ministries which meet other needs of the parish and enrich our lives either directly or indirectly. And just as I am very grateful for my Southern Christian heritage, I am very indebted to the Greeks who brought Orthodoxy to Wilmington and kept the ancient faith alive and unaltered by the whims of the moment. It is humbling to be asked to speak because St. Nicholas has been kept vibrant by the stewardship of this community since its founding. And thanks to the community, St. Nicholas will continue for many more generations to come.